thank you for your time and for being with us today. We're going to be talking about how can you extend your radio coverage with Starlink, and also how these can boost safety and efficiency. First thing that I want to start to is, please feel free to submit any question at any time during the presentation. We're going to be answering at the end of the webinar. And also, if you don't get to your question, please send me an email. That's my email address. And we're going to actually send also a recording in a few days so you can actually rewatch the presentation. So let me start with the presentation. So we talk about coverage and we talk about communication. So what happens? What are the consequences of having a bad coverage? First thing that you're going to be seeing whenever you have a bad coverage is safety risk, and this is mostly because sometimes you don't communicate with the people that is outside in the field, and they might be working on an energized line, or inadvertently, a dispatcher may energize that line, and that can cause obviously a hazard. Second thing is service reliability issues. So as you coordinate restoration, there are certain priorities that you need to put. So that thing needs to be taken into consideration, so you don't experience, or your customers, they don't experience longer outage durations when they're doing the repairs. Dispatchers also, they lose visibility. Uh, Obviously, if they don't know what are the actual field conditions, or what is the progress that is being done during the repair. The third thing is operational inefficiencies. Again, you're trying to allocate resources according to what is going on outside, and if you don't have real-time information, this has become very difficult. If you have an emergency, that also becomes difficult to try to coordinate without having communication, or having crews that you don't know how to communicate with them. Regulatory and legal exposure, that's obviously has to be related to emergency response procedures. There are certain procedures that need to be done or need to be complied with, and not having, or having a poor communication may expose this. Member relationship impact, extended outages, and poor information. Again, it is the flow damage. If you don't provide the proper information to your members as something happened, this is something that start lowering the satisfaction of the members of the customers, and the trust also. And last but not least is the consequences, financial consequences. This increase over time cost, and the expenses that are on the equipment. I'm going to talk a little bit about this one, and I have a different slide over here. And one of the questions that I always ask customers is, do you have radio coverage gaps? And I'm telling you, every single radio system has at least, I mean, the most perfect system will have about 90% of coverage, and there will be 10 that may, not cover. But this is under very special circumstances. So a lot of people spend a lot of time going back and forth, trying to communicate, trying to let them know that I'm going to be working in this line. I need you to de-energize the line, etc. So what we ask uh, about this thing is, what is the cost of a line crew if they're going over there outside per hour? And one of the things that we got in return, and probably you have a different number within your companies, but it's in between 150 to $450 per hour. If we take this into consideration, I mean, taking labor, equipment, vehicles, supplies, operational expenses, etc. If you take this into consideration, and you spend at least 1 hour per month searching for radio coverage, your annual loss is going to be between 1,800 and 5,400. Now, if you have a fleet of 15 vehicles, not having coverage can cost you up to $81,000. What we're going to be talking about during this webinar is how the services that we provide not only pay for themselves, but also, and this is the most important, is going to give you more benefits that are going to add up to to the benefits that you offer to your customers. And let me start with, how do we come up with this thing, or what are the problems that we solve? Typically, when we talk to both emergency responders, military forces, firefighters, utilities, radio users, anyone that provides critical communication, uh, first first issue that they identify is coverage. And they said it's not about putting 1,000 towers because that is extremely costly. They want something that it can augment to what they have already. If they already have radios, how can I keep using my radios, not invest in replacement, but something that I can continue using and also for failover. The other thing is whenever there are emergencies, there is not just one electric cop that probably attend this thing. You're going to have multiple. So it's multiple agencies, multiple networks, multiple cops, and each one of them has a different radio, a different system, a different way of communicating. So adding to this interoperability needed, there is a compatibility within the radios. Some of them have Motorola, some of them have Kenwood, some of them have L3 Harris, P25 systems. How do I make them talk, all of them, during an emergency? The other thing also is location. We talk about doing at the beginning. This is about coordination. This is about the putting priorities. If I know where my crew is, it is easy for me to mobilize them according to the plan that I have to tackle certain emergencies. And the ability to deploy or do a fast deployment. This makes a difference. If you can respond immediately, this makes a difference. So key over here is not just these five problems that we solve, but how do we manage and control these five problems? And this is what our solution does. So to begin with, and I know we're going to be talking a little bit about Starlink, and one of the things that satellite provides to this solution is what satellite communication, the satellite alternative, because we heard satellite all over the place, and we've seen that you can get it in phones, you can get it in tethering devices, and there's certain phones that do satellite and everything. One of the things that I want to make sure we all understand for critical communications for the type of jobs that you guys have is if you are imagine yourselves, or well, not yourselves, but imagine uh, someone on the top of a pole with their gloves. Obviously, it is sweaty. It's not going to be reaching out to the phone, removing the gloves, and trying to find out what is the application name that I need to call or to talk to whenever they have an emergency, or looking for signal to see if they find the satellite that is going to be able to connect them. So these guys, they already use something, and they already use radios, and the radios are purpose built. These are devices that were already designed for withstand, like if they fall, they are not going to be losing the communication. So this is what they are already using, and this is what they're familiar with, and this is what they know and trust. So anything, any solution that comes should not interfere with the years of practices that these, that the users have. By replacing it with something that is very new in the midst of chaos, it's going to be worse. But if they have something that they know how to use, it is going to be easier. So we focus on provide that seamless switching in between different communication solutions without replacing or interfering how they use the radios. What we do provide is push to talk connectivity for purpose built devices. So we don't sell devices, we don't sell radios. We work with the ones that you already have, and we provide you that extra coverage, that interoperability, and everything else. So let's talk a little bit about coverage. How do we achieve that extra coverage? If you take a radio system, your portable or handheld devices are going to reach about 2 3 miles. That's without, with line of sight, you're going to be able to get about 2 3 miles without obstructions. Then you have your mobile devices, they're going to go further. And then if you have repeaters, obviously you're going to get, a better coverage, right? But if you go beyond that, I mean, these systems, the radio systems are purpose built also. You have your need today, and you build the system according to the need that you have today. But if tomorrow the town grows or the system grows or something like that, now you're going to be looking for more ways to communicate. So in that case, one of the solutions that comes is PTT over cellular, using one of the LTE or 5G cellular coverage that are. But here's something important, and I put it over here: commercial coverage. Why? Because that coverage that you have is what you get. Uh, Cellular LTE systems are based on population. So if you're within a city, yes, you're going to have cellular coverage. Sometimes a little bit good, sometimes a little bit bad. But if you go into outside to the field, to the remote areas, you're not going to be able to communicate, because they are not building these things for those areas. They have it where there's certain population, and that's where satellite shines. Satellite gives you the whole, instead of having your tower or your repeater in the ground, you have it in the space, and it is easier to reach out to it, right? So each one of this has the good things, the bad things. What I want to talk about is not who's better or who's worst, but what about using all of them according to the situation that we are in. If you don't have radio coverage, switch into LTE automatically, or manually. If you don't have LTE, switching into satellite, and vice versa. So that way, imagine you have the coverage of your radio, the coverage of your cellular network, and the coverage of satellite. Basically, you have a total coverage. And that's one of the solutions, is part of a solution that we provide. Let me put in a different example. Say state of Florida, and I knock on wood for what I'm going to be saying, but is, let's say there is a hurricane that hits Florida. Suddenly, I have siloed communication, spotty communication. In some places, I'm going to be having radio. In some places, I'm going to be cellular. How do I tackle this thing, and how do I coordinate my fleet? How do I make it the most effective way to tackle this situation? So our solution, the very first thing, whenever you equip your vehicles with our solution, the very first thing that is going to happen is you're going to have a communication. We're going to network everything, and you're going to be able to talk to every single point. Now, yes, I'm talking to the guys that are over here in this coverage. I'm talking to the people that is over here in this coverage. But what about the ones that are in the middle? That's what satellite kicks in. So as you see, you have your radio coverage, you have your cellular coverage, and you have your satellite coverage in those places that you have no coverage. Mhm. This is the way the solution works. You have your current radio in your vehicle, mhm, and the first thing that we do is we need to convert that audio of your radios, of your current radios, into IP. So for that purpose, we need a gateway. So we connect that radio into our gateway. The gateway is going to transform that audio into IP, it's going to have an IP address, and it is going to go through Starlink. When it goes to Starlink, on the other side, let's say on your dispatch center or your fixed side, you're going to have another gateway. Now, the way this works is I just need internet. I just need IP. So I can have satellite, I can have local area network, or I can have LTE, or I can have fiber. As long as I have internet, I'm going to be able to receive the information. And what this gateway is going to do is do the opposite. It's going to decode the IP and transform it into audio, analog audio. Mhm. So how this is going to be working, my portable radios are going to talk, or your portable radios are going to talk to your vehicle. That means that you can dismount the vehicle, work on the pole, and talk from your portable radios all the way via satellite. Oh, and yeah, all the way via satellite or via LTE back to your dispatch center or fixed location. What appear over here is the LTE modem. So if you have LTE, we can connect it into LTE also. That way, you can either go through LTE or through satellite. But now we're talking, radios, talking from 2-3 miles of distance between your vehicle and your radios, and then relaying all the way back to the fixed uh, site. Now, on top of this thing, you also have location. You can have emergency, you can have alarms, history of where the vehicle was, geofencing, and the whole tracking of the location of a vehicle. Mhm. Let me let me set an example of how this thing works in the field. So you have your dispatch center, and this is your typical radio system, and this is your typical coverage that you have with your radio system, right? So if you send someone to a place or a remote area that has no coverage, what is going to happen is the communication over here is silent. They can communicate locally, but they cannot talk back to dispatch because they are in a remote area. Same thing over here, same thing over here. So what we're going to do is we're going to equip each one of the units with our solution. So we have different configurations over here. We have the fixed configuration, the one that we just talked about a second ago. Is a gateway that is connected. In this case, I put it over here with a Starlink, but it could be any IP. We have the vehicular configuration that we can connect to Starlink or LTE. It could be either or both. And we have, well, this one is the same thing as this vehicular. And we have a Go kit. And we're going to talk in a couple of slides about specifically the Go kit and what includes within the Go kit. But the Go kit is a way of, it's a transportable way of carrying this solution. So the minute I install this solution, first thing that is going to happen is I'm going to be able to talk back to dispatch. That is the very first thing that is going to happen. And this is, as you saw in the previous slide, my portable radios are going to talk to the mobile radio that is in the vehicle. And this one is connected into the gateway that goes either via LTE or satellite back to the dispatch. I can have them talk these three together, or I can have these two talking to dispatch and this other one talking just to one of these one. You can decide who talks to whom. You can create groups, if you will, because now everything is IP. So I can decide who talks to whom. Now, here's the nice thing. If I, at the dispatch level, connect to my local radio, my base, and you see this line, I've just connected them. Now, these portables that you see over here are going to be able to talk to these other portables. So from here, that I'm in the middle of nowhere, no signal, no nothing, I'm going to be able to talk to these other portables via either satellite or LTE. Mhm. Now, because I have LTE and or satellite, in this case Starlink, I will have also a bubble of Wi-Fi, an area of coverage of Wi-Fi, a hotspot, if you will, within the vehicle. That means that if I have iPads or I have a Wi-Fi phone, texting, everything that you want to do, you can do it on your computer. Even you can plug in your computer over here, for instance, in the Go kit, and send information directly because you have high-speed data. You have a Starlink or you have an LTE modem. Mhm. Now, on top of that, you also have location, as we mentioned, so you know exactly where the units are. And the nicest thing is you can have, I mean, think about this. You can have a drone over there feeding, you get the feeding and you send it via LTE or satellite all the way to dispatch. So dispatch is having real-time situational awareness. It's looking at what is going on in real time, not delayed. Mhm. So the most important thing, and one of the things that I want you to see is look at the power of each of a vehicle, the power that they gain by having this. This is like having a whole network in a vehicle, and that goes wherever you want, and that can connect to whoever you want. And let me talk a little bit about that connection. That will be having talk groups or groups. So if we take each one of them, this is the way that will look like, right? So you can have each one of them with one channel and talk one to one or the way you wanted to talk. So first thing that I can do is I can create groups. So I can have these two in a group, or I can have these other two in a group. The other thing is I can have also uh, all of them in a single group. So it is easier and simpler, the communication, but everyone is listening to everyone. The important part over here is you can have tactical interoperability. You can have unlimited and multiple talk groups. You can have as many as you want with as many members as you want. No license, no FCC license, no special frequency permits. This is IP. So you don't need all the stuff. Everything is encrypted, AES-256. So it's like, think about this as if it was a VPN for each one of them, and you can play on who talks to whom. Now, the most important thing, and this is one of the things that our customers appreciate a lot, is no channel congestion. Because the groups that you have over there are the groups that you create. That's the ones that you only want to talk to. And because this is IP and this is like VPN, no one is going to be able to interfere or get into your frequencies. This is yours. And this connects to any radio, any system, and anywhere. We have three different, uh, as you saw in the presentation, as I've been going through the slides, we have three different configurations. One of them is in vehicle, one of them is Go Kit, and one of them is fixed. So the key here is I can make as many combinations as I want. Any radio. So I can have a VHF radio here, and I can have a UHF radio here, and I can have a P25 radio here. It doesn't matter because I just take the audio. It's like connecting a speaker. And then that speaker, I digitize it, I compress it, I encrypt it, and I optimize it for satellite and LTE. So I can connect to an LTE modem. There's some customers that decide I don't want an LTE modem. With the radio coverage that I have and the satellite that you're providing, it's more than enough for me. So we can do that thing too. We can do only satellite or only LTE. This is going to depend on how do you want your configuration. So each configuration and each customer has a different uh, uh, type of application or even radios, because you may have different brands of radios. So let me do a double click on the Go Kit. The Go Kit, if you have different radios, I mean, one of the key features that it has also, the Go Kit, is you can have different radios. One that is VHF and one that is 800. Say you have a flooding and you have another co-op that has VHF radios, and probably you have FEMA or any other agency that is supporting you. Typically, they're not going to be able to talk to each other. So what you do is you connect them to the Go Kit, and the very first thing that is going to happen is they all are going to be able to talk. So now everyone is talking in the same channel. Now you can coordinate locally, and this, it has a Starlink. Let me put it over here. It has a Starlink Mini, so I can take the antenna, put it in the roof of a vehicle, and have transmit to the other side, to any of the other side. And this can be a node. Again, this could be a talk group that talks this one to this one, or directly with the dispatch center. See over here, I have a Kenwood radio, I have an L3 Harris, and I have a Motorola radio. Each one of them, some of them P25, some of them conventional. They don't talk to each other regularly, but whenever you connect them, this is what happens. Everyone talks to each other. The Go Kit weighs about 37 pounds. and it fits in the overhead bin of a airplane. So it's small enough, but yet very powerful. This is a network in a box, a combined network in a box, because you have satellite, you have LTE, and you have radio. You have the three networks over here in a box, and we have different configurations. One of them is one that you can connect to your radio. Another one that has an internal radio, and this internal radio, you see it over here. I have an internal radio in the Go kit. Then you have another one that can do cross banding. When we talk about putting different radios and connect, having the talk in the same channel. And we have the complete version, which is the one that has everything, which is this one, the one that you see over here. Mhm. So when you take this into consideration and you put it together, this is the way it's going to be looking like. This is your Go kit with your multi radio configuration. So you have interoperability, local interoperability, you have network interoperability. You can create groups. This could be part of a group that only talks to this crew and not to the rest. I mean, you decide in this one, this is it can be done via over the air. So you don't have to bring the units and pre-program and anything. No, the people that is at the dispatch center, they can actually decide who talks to whom or have pre-configured talk groups so they know what channel they need to go into it. I know it's a lot of information, but we're going to be providing you more information about this thing. Uh, Sky PTT, at the end of the day, what it is, and look at this, is all the features that you can have in any vehicle. And it augments your radio and data coverage, compatible with all radio brands, is interoperable with any network, secure communication AES 256. Again, it's like having a VPN for each one of them. Cross banding capability across any type of radio, GPS location, tracking and emergency alerts, data capability, and this is 12 volt power. This is very easy to install and very easy to make it work. It's not complicated. So we talked at the beginning about the solution that we have and about the consequences of not having a good communication. So now I'm going to show you what are the benefits of having a good communication. And started with obviously increased safety, increased productivity, regulatory compliance, immediate emergency response, and increased customer satisfaction. Again, reduce fuel costs, and you are going to find probably 10 more. But this is something that right now, if you have coverage gaps, you can get by allowing those units that are not being able to communicate. And I'm going to open it up for questions. I really appreciate your time, and I really, you know, uh, we apologize for the technical difficulties at the beginning, but we're going to be sending, as we mentioned, we're going to be sending a presentation and the video so you can actually see the recording of our webinar. Uh, any questions you have? I'm going to open it up for questions now. Okay, what is the proposed vehicle to portable solution? The gateway only gets you to the vehicle. That is correct. And let me go into this slide. So what this does is this provides you that communication back to your office or to any of the other units. If you connect it to your radio, automatically remember you are in a place where you have no communication. You're siloed. So what we're doing over here is allowing your portable radios to talk through the gateway, get into Starlink Mini, and go back to your base to what we have over here. So you're having these people that is outside over there, no communications at all, talk to your base and your dispatch can actually also see them. Mhm. The other question, it has to be with the cost. This is basically a customization. We have to. There's a lot of variables, as you can see. I mean, a lot of brands of radios, a lot of brand of stuff and everything. So if you want to have a specific cost and everything, I will need to do a one-on-one with you guys, so I can understand what you have and provide you a good pricing. Mhm. What I'm gonna recommend is you have my email. Send me a note, send me a message, and we can schedule a particular call to go through the equipment that you guys have, and being able to provide you with a pricing. The other question is, can you work with fiber? Yes, as long as I have IP, I'm gonna be able to connect to anything, fiber, uh, LTE, satellite, anything that can provide me internet. And yeah, with all with an so the question over here is can you work with old satellite equipment? The old satellite equipment that they have, I mean, obviously Starlink has a nice things and is 5G and is a lot of bandwidth. The old satellite equipment, it is limited in terms of bandwidth, and the way this communication was designed was precisely for that old type of satellite equipment. We compress the voice all the way down to 10 kbps, so that way, as long as we have 10 kbps, we're able to transmit over anything. Mhm. uh, Christina, I don't know if you see any other question. I know it's a lot of information, and we're going to be sending you again the presentation so you can look at it, and perhaps you're going to come up with more questions. We really appreciate it again, your time, and we apologize for the delay that we had due to the technical difficulties. And with that, I finish presentation, and thank you all for your time.